Welcome back, my fellow film buffs. We're here today with another episode of How I See It. This is your man, Straight Shooter here. And this is episode 5. And I'm here to talk about Aquaman. First of all, let me let you know that there's going to be spoilers in my review, as there always is, because I'm going to talk about specific plot points in the movie. Let's start off with the DC Universe. Started with Man of Steel. Then we got Batman vs. Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. Then we got Aquaman. So, I kind of am in the minority in like that I actually enjoy Justice League. I see its flaws, and I know that it could have been better, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And I'm a big fan of Joss Whedon. And I also like the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman. And I understand where a lot of the criticism is in the theatrical cut because it left a lot of gaps in that I think the extended cut kind of fills in. And then Justice League, my problem with Justice League was it was just too short. They were trying to condense a whole lot of character introductions, and then they have a big bad that they're fighting, and they had to get to that, and it's only a 2-hour movie. It just wasn't enough time to cover all the ground, and it just kind of felt rushed. But there were still some really cool moments in it. Wonder Woman was really good. Man of Steel was good. I liked Man of Steel. A lot of people think that because Superman killed Zod, it wasn't very good, but remember, he did the same thing in Superman 2. And he did it a lot more callously. He was just like, yeah, I have my powers now and you don't, bitch. You're dead. In this one, it was like, okay, he was faced with a difficult choice. Zod was about to kill innocent people. So what was Superman going to do? His whole purpose is to live his life on Earth to protect people from evil. And Zod was evil, and Zod was about to kill people that he cared about right in front of him. He really didn't have a choice, and he was anguished about it. After he killed him, you saw that he was upset. But in any case, that's a brief synopsis of my overview of the DC Universe. So now we're up to Aquaman. Now, I like Jason Momoa. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. He's awesome in that series. Unfortunately, we didn't get very much of him outside of the first season. He was Aquaman in the Justice League, obviously. He was one of the highlights of Justice League as Aquaman. So it was really cool to see them do their own movie based on him. And they did it right because they didn't just take the tone of Batman vs. Superman and Justice League and make a new movie just building on that. They took the idea of Aquaman as the character, took it out of that element, and created his own world. And it was directed by James Wan, who is renowned for doing creepy horror-type movies. But he proved in this movie that he can do fantasy and action and do it really well. It was very well choreographed. The action scenes were really well done. The Atlanteans fighting. Hey, the Black Manta, he was okay. I mean, he was a decent villain. He was after Aquaman because Aquaman wouldn't bother to save his father when his father was about to drown because he killed people, which is understandable because I think that when it's your time, you have to face judgment and you have to answer for your crimes. It wasn't Aquaman's job to absolve him of that and give him a second chance. Like you said, you have to ask the sea for mercy. And the sea wasn't giving him mercy. But his son didn't see it that way, of course, so he aligns himself with the Atlanteans. Aquaman's brother is trying to vie for the throne, take over the entire water kingdom, the ocean kingdom, and wage war with the surface dwellers to basically annihilate the world outside of the ocean. So it's up to Aquaman to save everyone. Let me just say that Jason Momoa really fits Aquaman very well, and I don't know if I thought that that was the case before I saw Justice League, because he didn't feel to me like Arthur Curry. Arthur Curry was a different entity altogether than Khal Drogo. But sometimes you have to give actors a chance because he really proved himself to be a good Arthur Curry. What the movie did was they start with the origin story to show how his mom and his dad met. His mom was the queen of Atlantis. She fell in love with a mortal, so that's why Aquaman's a half-breed. And then he's born. She leaves him with his father, and she has to go back to Atlantis. And all this time, he thought that his mom was dead. But as it turned out, she was hiding. Well, she wasn't hiding, actually. She was trapped near the Earth's core. And he eventually found her on his quest for the original King of Atlantis' trident. Then you have other characters like Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is always awesome. How can you not love him as Green Goblin? How can you not love him in Boondock Saints? He is the mentor of Aquaman as a kid. He teaches him how to fight. He teaches him how to live in the underwater world and be amongst them, because all he'd known all his life as a kid was being a human. So now he's learning how to be an Atlantean. The thing that I really like about this movie is that they weren't afraid to show how bright and colored and very special the under-ocean world was. It was a fantastical world. It could have fit into the Avatar universe. And everyone remembers Avatar, not for the story necessarily, but because of how beautifully it was filmed. This was on par with that. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool how he fought. I thought it was really cool how he put his family back together. He found his mother. His mother came back to his father after 20 years. He finds the original trident of the first king of Atlantis, and he overthrows his brother, who, by the way, is played by Patrick Wilson. And Patrick Wilson is no stranger to James Wan or the DC universe, because we know him from Watchmen and we know him from the Conjuring movies. There was some really good acting in this movie, and there were some really great set pieces, some really cool fight scenes, and it was a really cool story at the same time. It's the kind of movie that you go into thinking, well, I don't know how this is going to be. You might not have been crazy about the Justice League or Batman vs. Superman or whatever it is, or Suicide Squad, but they really made it its own thing, like they did with Wonder Woman. It was its own separate movie, and it worked as its own separate movie. And that's what Aquaman does, too. And it's not like Wonder Woman, except for the fact that it's its own individual tale. But I think it really works, and I really enjoyed the movie. It was an awesome movie. If I have anything bad to say about it, let me think. I would say that Black Manta was a bit disappointing and probably could have maybe been saved for another movie, because he was aligning himself with the Atlanteans so that he could help wage the war against the Atlanteans, but he was also trying to track down Aquaman and kill him. And when he shows up and fights Aquaman, it feels like more of a distraction from the story than it feels like a congruent part of the story that needs to be there. I think they probably could have just shown him in the beginning surviving the shipwreck, trying to save his father, but he doesn't. And maybe at the end of the movie, he gets the Atlantean tech, and and the end of the movie, the mid-credit sequence is the tease for Aquaman 2. That's maybe what I would have done. I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily put him in along with the story of him fighting his brother and trying to save the world from Atlantis. But again, that's how I see it. But other than that, I thought the movie was great. A, definite A, maybe not plus because of the Black Manta thing, but definitely a great movie. Until next time, I'll see you later, guys.